welcome back. It's me.
It is you. It is you. And it's me.
Good job. It's you.
Well, it's like
Another episode coming at you fast.
with you and me. Occult Class
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, hope you learned our names by now, because we're not saying them anymore. Never again.
Bob scared me so bad.
Oh,
Guys,
right. That did happen.
He scared me so bad.
If any of you are scared of things, don't go look up the Momo meme.
I think easiest way to look it up is actually... Well, Momo meme could... Does that lead to that?
I think it leads you to knowyourmeme.com pretty easily.
Is there only one Momo
I think that's how
meme?
Currently airing? Yeah. I don't know about in the future and the past.
No.
But this week,
I would say...
that's the Momo meme.
I would say look up Momo statue by... Or not by, but look up Nanako, but like Nanaakoo. That's how I found it. Because I asked him to delete the picture as soon as possible because it was like 1 a.m. and I was tired.
Yeah. Christine says she likes horror things, but she can't handle puppets, apparently.
I can't handle like super uncanny things. So yeah, puppets can scare me. Sculptures can scare me.
Don't Hug
Actually,
Me, I'm scared.
yeah, I don't like Don't Hug Me, I'm scared.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm the complete opposite. I hate horror movies, but I love puppets.
See, I love
that are
horror
spooky.
movies. I love horror games. I just, like, none of those scare me. But, like, puppets and sculptures, like, I get really weirded out in museums.
Oh, also, the most important part, the sculpture is by a Japanese sculptor, I believe, and it's supposed to be, like, a yokai sculpture.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a yokai
Which
thing.
fits into this. How weird.
Oh,
It's
yes.
basically a harpy with no wings.
Yeah.
If you ever played, wow, that Capcom game.
That
You'll know
Capcom
the
game.
one.
The Dragon's Crown?
Yeah, no,
No? Because that had a harpy, but she was, like, different.
no. All our three fans, if you know the reference, Hoppy, you'll know what game I mean. But Christine won't.
My
so it
brain
doesn't matter.
does not know this one. Is it a fighting game?
Who cares? Who cares? It's not a... What the hell fighting game has a godforsaken harpy?
I don't know.
Christine?
Not Dragon's Crown. The
Dragon's Crown's not a fighting game.
Darkstalkers has a bunch of things.
I don't think it has a harpy.
It does not have a harpy, no.
This is all pointless. These aren't real spooks. This is it's not even a real yokai. It's a made-up yokai.
It's a made-up yokai with the story of a Bume in it, so...
And we're going to talk about real fake yokais. Mine is actually not a yokai. Yours, I guess, technically is, isn't it?
Yeah, mine's a yokai.
Yeah, alright, cool. Well, I'm going to go with mine first because I think yours is longer.
Yeah. It had a lot of reading,
Maybe,
but I'm
we
not
don't
sure
know.
if it's...
Christine doesn't feel.
I could just reiterate these stories with a lot of reading.
We're going to go with mine then, because we're hitting it. Christine, she was in Canada last week. I'm heading back. This week, located on the borders of Canada and Alaska, this beast roams the Yukon.
Another
It's
Yukon
called
thing.
The Partridge Creek Beast.
Okay. I've never
Yeah,
heard
ready
this
for
one.
this? I didn't either, but thanks to, I believe,
Rusho?
yep, the man, the myth, the legend.
Rusho.
Somehow I don't remember his name, even though he's the only one who ever comments with really like 30,000 things. But let's go. Here we go. French traveler George Dupy, according to Dupy. He began his adventure one day in 1903 with a banker from San Francisco called James Lewis Butler and a local gold prospector named Tom Leemore. They were hunting 3 large moose amid the marshy tundra countryside near the Yukon's Clear Creek. About 100 miles east of Dawson City, suddenly, one of these burly deer raised its head, as if it heard something unexpected in the vicinity, and, just as it did, so not a second later, a member of the trio emitted a loud bellow of an alarm, sending all 3 of them fleeing southwards full speed. standing 7 feet at the shoulder and weighing up to half a ton, the world's largest living species of deer. The moose is not a creature rapidly spooked like a big babby, which is why the hunters were surprised by this. When they reached the spot from where the moose had fled, however, the reason for the creature's uncharacteristic behavior became clear. There, in the snow, was the clear impression of an enormous body belonging to some unidentified beast of monstrous proportions. The beast's belly had plowed into the river, about 30 feet long, 12 feet wide, and 2 feet deep, which was flanked by gigantic footprints measuring 2.5 feet across and 5 feet in length, each also yielding impressions of sharp, 1-foot-long claws. Completing the clues left behind by this unseen Goliath was the imprint of a mighty 10-foot-long tail spanning 16 across in its middle. 16 inches across, not feet. That'd be weird. Apologies. Notwithstanding the nightmarish visions conjured up by such dramatic dimensions, the two men decided to follow the beast's tracks, which led several miles to a gulch known as Partridge Creek. The tracks simply came to an end, giving the men cause to speculate that it must have leapt directly up the gulch's encompassing cliff. Following this, they made their way by canoe along the Mythological River to the nearby outpost of Armstrong Creek, a native village where Butler had an earlier arranged to meet Doopy to take him hunting, and which was home to the Reverend Father Pierre Lavignave, a French-Canadian Jesuit priest.
What?
Yeah, his name was butchered because I don't care about it.
What was that name?
When Doopy and the priest heard about the monster, they were highly skeptical at first, but eventually Butler persuaded them to return to Partridge Creek with Leemore and himself in search for it, aimed by some natives. After a day's intensive search but fruitless, they warily resigned themselves to failure and decided to establish camp at the top of a rocky ravine. Thoughts of confronting monsters had been largely suppressed by the more practical goal of preparing a warm meal until, wholly without warning, they received a terrifying reminder of the reason for their presence there. A hideous roar broke the Arctic stillness, and as the startled hunters reached for their rifles, one of them pointed with a shaking hand to the opposite side of the ravine, where the crimson rays of the dying sun revealed a heart-stopping sight. A veritable monster, in every sense of the word, was clambering up its slope, black in color, at least 50 feet long, and estimated by Butler to weigh about 40 tons. The horrific visitor continued to climb upwards for a time, mercifully unaware of its terrified human eyewitnesses' close proximity. When it was about 200 paces away, it paused for 10 minutes or so, furnishing them with ample opportunity to observe it at close range in all its spine-chilling glory. Although profusely splattered with thick mud, its hide could be seen to bear many coarse gray-black bristles, like those of a boar, and a hideous mass of blood and saliva oozing from its cavernous jaws. Most remarkable of all, however, was the rhino-like horn perched prominently, if somewhat incongruously, near the end of its snout. The natives cowered in terror behind the rock, and the others rendered momentarily speechless by the monster's apparition. But when it became clear that it had not detected them, the priest gained sufficient control of his voice to whisper, still chattering teeth, "A Ceratosaurus. It's a Ceratosaurus of the Arctic Circle." Ceratosaurus was a large flesh-eating bipedal dinosaur of the Jurassic period, related to the later larger Tyrannosaurus rex, and readily identified via the large horn near the tip of its upper jaw. As they continued to watch, the beast suddenly reared up onto its massive hind legs like a hellish kangaroo, gave voice to an ear-splitting roar again, and then disappeared back down into the ravine via a single immense bound.
What?
Not too surprisingly, the beast hunters found that the thrill of pursuing this creature had lost its former charm, and the following morning they journeyed back to Armstrong Creek, Doopy later attempted to interest the Canadian governor at Dawson City in supplying them with a large-scale hunting party of mules and armed men, but when this failed, he returned home to France. Spooky, right?
What year was this again?
03.
Oh, 3.
I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
The second time this beast was seen, Christmas Day, 1907, in which the priest informed him that on Christmas Eve, and while in the company of more natives, he had seen their monstrous quarry once again, this time racing at speed over the creek's frozen river with what seemed to be the carcass of a caribou clamped between its great jaws. Tracks identical to the ones found in 1903 were clearly visible in the deep mud, and were followed by Lavigny and company for at least 2 miles before being obliterated by falling
who
snow.
you're talking about.
That's the priest. His name is Lavigny.
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 You'll have to.
But yeah, basically, the Partridge Creek beast is a dinosaur in Canada.
That's so strange.
Yeah, well, looking it up, it was fun because a lot of people were like,
Yeah.
"How could a lizard be in the Canada?" But
we do have a lot of dinosaur bones. Like,
well, that's from the past. They're thinking about today.
Oh.
But a lot of things now we're finding out that dinosaurs are probably warm-blooded chickens.
yeah,
They're birds, not
reptiles. Yeah.
And we know birds live in the snow. You got snowy owls, penguins,
Yeah.
cardinals. A lot of snowbirds. And it had black funny bristles all over its body.
Well, that's the one
like
thing that
feathers.
I was thinking about, because I was like, well, obviously this is talking about a dinosaur, but this is also an old talking
Yeah, it's
about
1903 before they had feathers.
Yeah, so before they had feathers. So maybe what they saw was not actually fur or bristles, but actually just feathers.
Mm-hmm.
Which...
Yeah, maybe this adds credence to the whole time slip theory, and a dinosaur slipped through time for a second and back. Who knows? But it's things like this where you're like, why would they have seen feathers? Nobody would have made up feathers. They would have been laughed at back then.
Mm-hmm.
Odd.
Very odd.
But funny. I like it.
No, that was super cool.
As you can see, I drew a funny picture
You
of
did.
it.
I love
He
it.
is big fluff.
He looks very cute.
That's my beast of the week. I love it. I love the Partridge Creek beast because it's just a dinosaur, and I like dinosaurs, and I like Godzilla, and that's my life.
Yep.
On to yours.
Mine...
Yours is also a bird, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm doing... Look, it's a bird. It's a Tengu. I'm doing Tengu this time.
They're birds.
Well, no, not always.
They're birds. They're birds.
We'll get into that. So known as the mountain goblin, they're bird-like. They have bird-like characteristics, but not all the time. They don't always appear to be birds. In some depictions, they can be like monks. In some, just actual birds, and in some, those long-nosed, winged characters that we see.
Much like the Japanese goblin on the Discord
Yes.
emoji panel. My favorite emoji.
It is true, because he sends it to me all the time.
Japanese goblin's a great emoji. Thank you, everyone.
So they're commonly associated with Buddhism. There are 2 different types of Tengu. There is the Karasu Tengu, which translates to like crow Tengu, though they're actually more often depicted not as a crow but as a kite or a tonbi. I think that's the Japanese word for it. It's a predator bird. It's kind of like a falcon, I guess. And then there's the Dai Tengu. And Dai Tengu are mostly, I think, just Tengu, like important figure Tengu, like of different mountains. Like, I will guess get into, or I can just name all the Dai Tengu that exist.
What about a few?
A few? There's like a lot.
That's why I said a few.
Okay.
Don't give me like 20. Give me like 3. Let's get the best.
Well, I don't really know the best because they're just from mountains.
Just tell me they're the best. I'll believe you.
So there's Sojobo of Mount Kurama, which is Mount Kurama. I think is in Kyoto. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I've heard about it on Encouragement to Climb, the anime.
Oh.
It's about climbing mountains. Don't worry about it.
Then there's Zinkibo of Mount Omine. There's Daranibo, which is in Mount Fuji. And Ajari, which is in Higo province.
So does each Tengu get their own mountain, or is that just if you've become leveled up in Tengu society?
No, these are like the high level Tengu, and they have their own mountain. Like they're the Tengu.
So when you're
of the
a boss
mountain.
Tengu.
Yeah, but it kind of comes in hand, I think.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So Tengu actually translates to celestial dog.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So funny. So the same combination of kanji can be seen in early Chinese texts referring back to a comet, which is perceived to be like a dog-shaped comet. Similarly, the first time Tengu was used in Japanese text, which is in the Nihon Shoki, for the entry of the year 637, it was talking about a comet or a falling star that was shaped like a dog and let out a loud bark, which was probably it like whipping through the atmosphere.
Oh.
So, Tengu, it's a dog, but not really. And then all of a sudden, like throughout the years, Tengu for some reason was more associated with these mountain spirits, like similar to like Mononoke, like just yokai, I guess, just spirits of the mountain, and they were known to like be trickstery and all that stuff. They're also thought to be afterlife incarnations of past emperors and dead warriors. One of the texts that like kind of talks about that is that where is it? Emperor Sutoku was banished to a remote province and was described as a kite plotting with a troop of demons and Tengu to disrupt humanity. I don't know, just be a dick, because he's angry that he got banished. So, and then his spirit was then considered to turn into a Tengu. I don't know, it's very strange. Tengu are also supposed to have like supernatural powers called Geijutsu, which translates to outside technique, which are not non-Buddhist magic that is forbidden. You're not supposed to use this magic. Even like it's like evil magic, but it's not technically evil, it's just not Buddhist magic.
It's the magic of the ghosts.
So like there's a story of a monk who what was it? He was the story of a monk, and he something about the emperor being sick. And then Tengu is like, I can help the emperor. And they're like, no, it's non-Buddhist. And he's just like, I have magic. And it's like, it's a lie. And then they finally like let him do it. And it did help the emperor. Like it worked. But it was
Good job, Tengu.
forbidden magic.
Well, it's ghost magic. You can't trust ghosts all the time.
I guess. They're also known to be like really powerful. Like they know martial arts, and they, like a lot of warlords and warriors were said to have trained under Tengu, and that's why they were so good at their job. So one of the most famous tales is Minamoto no Yoritomo. Yes. Of the victorious Genji forces during the Genpei War during 1180 to 1185. Which, okay, I was reading his story and I got really confused immediately because they just started referring to him as another name.
That's his nickname.
Well, his nickname is actually the Yoshitsune is his or his father Yoshimoto. Yeah, so Yoshitsune is his nickname, but his real name was Ushiwakamaru. I don't know why you would change your name. Maybe Ushiwaka is too cute. I don't know.
I mean, Christine, you call me a different name.
I guess
all
so.
the time.
I get well. It's because your
Like-
other name is a real name.
Yeah, both my names are real names. So are his, I think. So that's just how sometimes it happens. Sometimes you get another name.
Okay, fine. True. It made it very
You're sweating the small
hard
stuff.
to read the text because I was like, who are we talking about again? So yeah, there's that. Basically, like, he had trained up in, I think some sort of, yeah, in the Temple of Mount Kurama, which is what I was talking about. And then he trained under the monk there, or like a Tengu, and then became an awesome warrior. The story. It was during the Edo period is where we actually start seeing the long-nosed version of the Tengu. Before, it was like a birdman or just a monk. Didn't really cross. And it was in the Edo period that we started seeing the long-nosed version of it with the wings, but no one knows why that's the case. Just kind of happened. Probably people were like, that looks cool. That's just what Tengu look like now. And then after that period, mostly in the Edo period, Tengu were now described as spirits of the mountain that would spirit away people, including children.
I know a really good tale. I don't know all the details, but there was a monk, and the Tengus just found him. And then the monk friends went to go look for the monk, and they found him at the top of a tree, naked and just beaten half to death.
They described his mouth being green because he'd been chewing leaves.
Yeah, and it's like, oh no.
Poor guy.
Damn, you okay?
I got beaten by a Tengu.
Yeah, Tengus don't fuck around. Yeah, sometimes I think Tengus dislike monks a lot.
Well, because Buddhism, right? Because their magic is inherently non-Buddhist, so it would be like conflicting viewpoints.
It's like the Catholics versus the Christians, you know?
Yeah.
Just get big race wars some days over.
I think one of my favorite parts about that is that the magic that the Tengu possess is not actually evil, it's just non-Buddhist. So it still works, and it doesn't really have any side effects, it just isn't Buddhist. So thus it's not okay.
Yeah, it's like being kosher, man. Or when you're on your keto diet, can't eat any sugars.
Kosher? What are we talking about kosher then?
That's like kosher or being on a keto diet.
Yeah, like being.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was very confused because like if you're kosher on a keto diet, I'm like, what? Where are we going with that? Any other?
I'm going with things aren't necessarily bad. You're just not allowed to do it because that's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's just how it is when you're a Tengu.
Just how it is. Yeah, okay, it was like, I was reminded about something else about Buddhism and faux pas that you weren't allowed to do. There's a certain diet with Buddhism that doesn't allow you to eat. Did I mention that? Did we do Nupipo?
I don't know.
I think we did. Because like, that one had to do with the diet. that you weren't allowed to eat certain things. And because it would be deemed non-Buddhist, and Nupepo is supposed to like be a temptation of that, but as a mound of flesh that smells like onions and garlic, I guess. So strange. Japan is weird. But I wanted to mention that there's Tengu statues everywhere. And there's like a really large one in Oita Prefecture in Kyushu. I want to see these Tengu statues. I want to go to these temples. But yeah, mine was not like spooky, it was just interesting about Tengu, because Tengu are just like cool crow monks that can kick your ass.
Just like Goku.
Just like Goku. Do you have...
Well,
yeah?
I think we have just enough time then for a spooky Russian fairy tale. Last time we read a Russian fairy tale, we learned if you are very dumb, that doesn't matter if you can trick your brothers into drowning in the river. A great lesson learned. This week, we will learn about the secret ball. Hopefully, it's not super weird, because as always, I have not read them prior. Here we go, deep into Russian lore. There was once a widowed king who had 12 daughters, one more beautiful than the other. Every night, these princesses went away, no one knew whither, and every night each of them wore out a new pair of shoes. The king could not get shoes for them fast enough, and he wanted to know where they were every night and what they did there. So he prepared a feast, summoned kings and princes, noblemen, merchants, and simple people from all the lands, and said, "Can anyone solve this riddle? He who solves it will receive his favorite princess in marriage and half the kingdom as a dowry." He's so perplexed, he'll give half the fucking kingdom. He wants to know. However, no one would undertake to find out where the princesses went at night except one needy nobleman who said, "Your royal majesty, I will find out." "Very well, find out then," he said. Soon, the needy nobleman began to doubt and thought to himself, "What have I done? I've undertaken to solve this riddle, yet I don't know how. If I fail now, the king will put me in jail." He went out of the palace and walked outside the town. With a sad face, he met an old woman who asked him, "Why so sad, my good man?" He answered, "Grandmother, how can I help being sad? I've undertaken to find out for the king whither his daughters go every night." "Yes, that is a difficult task, but it can be accomplished. Here is an invisible cap. With this, it'll help you find out many things. But mind you, when you go to bed, the princesses will give you a sleeping potion. However, turn your face to the wall, pour the drops into your bed, and do not drink them." The nobleman thanked the old woman and returned to the palace. At nightfall, he was assigned to a room next to the princess's bedroom. He lay on his bed and made ready to watch. Then, one of the princesses brought him sleeping drops in wine and asked him to drink to her health. He could not refuse, took the cup, turned to the wall, and poured it into his bed. Bleh. On the stroke of midnight, the princesses came to see whether he was asleep, the nobleman pretending to be sleeping so soundly that nothing could rouse him, but actually he was listening to every rustle. "Well, little sisters," said one of them, "our guard has fallen asleep. It is time for us to go to the ball. It is time, high time." They dressed in their best garments. The oldest sister pushed her bed to one side and disclosed a passage to the underground kingdom, to the realm of the accursed king. Holy shit, this is getting crazy, Christine. They began to climb down a ladder. The nobleman quickly rose from his bed, donned his invisible cap given to him randomly by some old lady, and followed them. Accidentally, he stepped on the youngest sister's dress. She was frightened and said to her sisters, "Ah, sisters, someone seems to have stepped on my dress. This is a bad omen." "Don't worry, nothing will happen to us," said another. They went down the ladder and came to a grove where golden flowers grew. The nobleman picked one flower and broke off a twig, and the whole grove rumbled. "Ah, sister," said the youngest princess, "do you hear how the grove rumbles? This bodes no good." "Fear not, it is the music in the accursed king's palace." They refer to him as accursed and everything, my goodness. They came to the palace, and were met by the king and his courtiers. The music began to play, and they began to dance. They danced till their shoes were torn to shreds. The king ordered wine to be served to the guests. The nobleman took a goblet from the tray, drank the wine, and put the goblet in his pocket. At last the party was over. The princesses said farewell to their cavaliers, promised to come the next night, returned home, undressed and went to sleep. The next morning the king summoned the needy nobleman. "Well, have you discovered what my daughters do every night?" "I have," said the nobleman. "Then where do they go?" "To the underground kingdom, to the accursed king, where they dance the night away." The king summoned his daughters and began to question them. "Where were you last night?" The princesses denied everything. "We didn't go anywhere." Have you not been with the accursed king? This nobleman testifies against you and is ready to offer proof." "Father, he cannot offer proof, for he slept like the dead all night." The needy nobleman drew the golden flower and the goblet from his pocket. "Here," he said, "is the proof." The princesses had no choice but to confess everything to their father. He ordered the passage to the underground kingdom to be walled up, married the needy nobleman to his youngest daughter, and all of them lived happily ever after.
Yes, happily ever after.
Just like the last story, this tale has almost no reasoning or rhyme to it.
Yeah, it seems like
no
girls don't get to have fun.
Maybe in the future we'll find out who the accursed king is,
Mm-hmm.
and why the normal king hates him so. But, as of now, all we know is he throws kick-ass balls
I was gonna say,
where
he
you
has the best
rip your
parties.
shoes to pieces. Thank you for everyone who is listening. This was me.
And this was Christine.
If you liked our awful show, please smash that like button. Or comment on a cool new topic you could think
we have a ghost story, guys!
Oh my goodness, are you gonna do it right now? I don't know if I'll be able to sleep tonight, Christine.
Shh, it's fine. Alright, gonna get comfortable here.
Buddy. Here's our newest segment, ghost stories from people on the internet that may or may not be fake.
So this one is from Rusho.
Oh fuck.
'Cause
the man, the myth, the legend.
yeah. Now I know your real name. This is great. So it says, "Hi there. I have a ghost story from when I was a kid. This story takes place in mid-December in 1998 or 1999. So I would have been 6 or 7 at the time. During the summer of Christmas time. During the summer and Christmas time. I was gonna say, are we in Australia?"
Sometimes, you know, they have Christmas in July. Don't worry about it.
My parents and I would go to Arkansas. I almost said Arkansas. Why is it spelled that way? I hate this.
Yeah, I don't talk about your awful French words, Christine. Don't talk about my awful English ones.
Arkansas to visit an extended family. I was staying at my grandmother's house, which is a bit large. Kitchen with a bar, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. Bit large. House was with, only 1 bathroom? That's like a little bit like, what? So 3 bedrooms.
Christine, as
1
usual,
bathroom.
gets caught off guard by the smallest details of any story that have no pertinence.
Only 1 bathroom.
One bathroom?
1 bathroom.
Bitch, you calling this a big house?
I was sleeping on the couch in the living room alone. I'm a famously heavy sleeper amongst my childhood friends, so nothing woke. I guess say nothing woke me up. Usually, not even trains passing by in the wee hours of night. I woke up and noticed the clock and the TV, which was off, said 1 a.m. I was in my groggy state. I didn't move off the couch, but I looked adjacent to me and noticed 2 tall Jesus. Oh,
Too tall Jesus?
too tall
Jesus size?
Jesus. Two tall women, both of whom looked identical and were wearing clothing akin to mid-18th hundreds American.
Hey, you trying to say
America?
ghost twins?
This is so scary.
Dang.
Think Gone with the
Christine!
Wind. No, imagine you waking up in the middle of the night and having something staring at you. That's horrible.
Oh man, Christine, shit. I woke up, saw two twins staring at me. My gracious.
And like Victorian era freaking clothes? No, not fun.
Yep. Keep going.
They merely stared at me and said not a word. They had a clear translucent aura about them. Very similar to Obi-Wan portrayed in episode 5 and episode 6 of Star Wars. I went back to sleep and thought nothing of it. The next day I relayed the experience to my father, who then told me that the previous owners of the house before my grandmother and her side of the family were two sisters that passed away in the same house. I checked the city registry and sure enough, twin sisters. Isn't that particularly scary?
Hey,
I know,
twins.
that is fucking scary, dude.
Fucking Christine.
It's like one of my big fears, waking up and like having a ghost in my face. This is why I was not keen on that picture being sent, because it's all I can think about. It's definitely a real personal experience. That is so cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's scary as hell.
Christine, the non-believer of the show, gets scared of the stories, and I, the one who is agnostic of such things in the night, do not become frightened. What a strange dichotomy we have here in Occult Class. I hope you appreciate it.
It's fine.
Oh, it's so silly.
Dude, that's so scary. Thank you for sharing.
It's quite small.
That's awesome.
It was actually really cool though. I really enjoy those.
No,
That's just like the Partridge Creek Beast. It's the same idea. You see something, and you have details that you shouldn't have, and then they become corroborated later on.
Yeah.
Like Rusho shouldn't know that there are super old Victorian twins. Then he goes looks it up. Don't you know?
Don't you know? That's exactly what it is.
It's two Christines from the past, right there.
Two Christines. If you have any stories, listeners, just send them to occultclass at gmail.com.
Or if you have any favorite cryptids, ghosts, aliens. We have not done an alien yet. I might need to do an alien.
Wait, didn't we do an alien?
No, that's a cryptid, technically. The one you did?
But I thought it was an alien.
That's more of a cryptid, though.
It had a spaceship and everything.
That's more of a cryptid, though. I don't know. I don't know if I count that. But maybe, I guess. An honorary alien. We've had one. Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless, we haven't had many aliens.
Yes, that's true.
Or other weird things. Maybe you have a favorite kind of, astrological sign.
Yes? You want us to research signs?
Anything occult, man.
Oh, that's
You
true.
never know.
Any witchcraft stuff, too, I guess.
I don't know about all that.
We could
I don't wanna get
That's a cult.
into Wiccan.
Totally.
I don't need to become
No,
a
we'll
Wiccan
have an
over
episode
here.
where we visit Salem.
Well, I mean, I live basically next to
Exactly.
Sounds cool. Well, again, thank you for listening. Sorry I kind of rambled on at the end, but Christine didn't check the email prior and became very...
It hit me, like, as soon as you were saying, and then we're done. I'm like, wait a second, don't we normally check the email?
Yeah, we should probably do that before we start. But, nice little surprise.
Yeah.
See you guys next time on Occult
Class podcast.